call the names. Wake the room. Wake the room. Wake the room! Lou, Rex, Pam Ray, Naomi, Afasiana, Babbler, Monarch Soul, Jojo, Grey Eyes, fill my eyes. Poets assemble. No masks, no manners. Say it plain, or say it broken. Monday night in the garden of enlightenment. Low light lit minds, every line got intent. Clock ticks crooked and the room turns vigilant. Quiet so loud you can hear what the tension meant. Then it slips after midnight, manners get murdered. Nice little masks get cracked by a word or a murmur. Twisted Tuesdays twist truth till it turns on its heel. Clean cut faces go strange when the dark gets real. You can feel that shit, that slick little slip when the grin stays sweet, but the eyes don't sit. Like the room grew ribs, like the walls grew ears, like the hush got hands and it's pulling you near. And the words don't rest, they press. Put a heel on the chest, leave a dent in the breath. Every line like a knock from the back of the brain. Like you came in one shape, you won't leave the same. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft dough dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whisper in the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets, Wednesday breaks, parts in the park, sink down the spine, half halo, half hazard, both hands in the light. Then the art of seduction walks soft through the smoke, silk on the tongue with the blade in the joke. Books and bards wakes dust in the depth of the shelves. Old ghosts lean out and start naming themselves in a craft and sullen up the ache. Gets a voice, pain stands up straight and makes silence a choice. Then break on through when the devil gives way, when the masses sink but the pulse says pray. Echoes in the dark, go hunt the fear, that thing when no name starts ringing in your ear. Say it, say it. Fill my eyes with poetry, don't water it down. Let it bite, let it bloom, let it burn through the crowd. Bad company grins like a bruise, dress smart, and rhythm and rhyme puts a boot through the heart. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft dome dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whisper in the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets, some come shattered, some come slick. Some speak honey with a blade in it. Some sound velvet, some sound wire. Some walk in low and take the room higher. Some come holy, some come liars. That's the thing! This ain't filler for the dead space, no. This is a pulse with a pen, this is blood with an echo, this is breath to the backbone, ink for the crown. Live mics, live nerves, truth laid bare in the round. This is the beautiful mess, the bruise and the bloom, the line that cuts clean and makes a little room. Late souls, wide eyes, all nerve in the dark. A room full of hearts beating hard through the dark. Wake the room, wake the room. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft dim. wanting more. Late night poets, when the clock slips past polite, we tell the truth. L&P, we love you. Stay frosty.
Hello and welcome to the Art of Seduction. Warm, wonderful poetry compelling you to the edge of your seat. Sultry, seductive, and scintillating. Ink to make you shiver, to make you sigh. I am Pam Ray, and co-hosting with me tonight is Robbie's Poetry. Robbie and I are poets on a website called All Poetry with a group of poets called Late Night Poets. Tonight is our sensual poetry night, and if you find that is not your cup of tea, please check out our other shows. We have 1 to 2 shows per night on a variety of styles of topics and poetry, something to suit everybody's taste. Also, make sure when you get a chance to check out the poetry anthologies put out by Late Night Poets on Amazon, because when you purchase those, you not only get amazing poetry, you help support these radio shows. And hello, Robbie.
Well, if
How's
this
it
isn't your
going?
if this isn't your stick of candle wax, then what are you doing here? I
Exactly.
don't know why that just popped into my mind.
Well, that's why I like to say that. I like
Yeah.
to give people a heads up that it is a sensual poetry show because, not everybody, I mean, obviously we don't cross any lines.
No.
We're about, trying to keep it classy,
Mm.
but, it's just not everybody's thing to listen to. So, yeah, exactly. Exactly. But how's your day going?
Well, it's nice to be chilling after a long day. It was a good day and it was a productive day, but yeah, going out for such a long time on the bike, like going in between locations, it gets a little tiring, and it was just harder because, like I was saying before, with those eye drops, right? So like, for 2 hours, I was
Yeah.
like squinting all the time, and it's a good thing I have transitions lenses for my prescription
Oh,
glasses
that's
when
good.
I bike, because it would have been unbearable if I literally would have had to be in the mall for like 2 hours if I didn't have those. But I got a lot done, so that's good. Yeah.
Oh, that is good. That is good. I had,
Mhm.
as far as getting stuff done, I kind of had a middling type day. Like, it wasn't the most productive day I've ever had, but it was, more productive than some.
Yeah.
And, I was content with it.
Yeah. You
Read
didn't
and
go out for a
commented
walk,
on
eh?
some poetry, got a little bit of cleaning and cooking done, and all good, all
You,
good.
you didn't go out
Um,
for your walk, eh? You're gonna do that tomorrow?
I did not get out for a walk. I should have, but I'm just really still worried. Like the thing is I noticed because I had 2 days in a row where I went for like way shorter walks
Mhm.
than I usually do. Like I'm honest to goodness, like the store that I usually go to, our biggest grocery store, is like probably a total of 4 miles walking. And
Mhm.
so I went to the closer store, which is just basically like a quick trip, which is like a gas station with a little bit of food and stuff. And I found that while my leg wasn't hurting as bad as it usually
Oh, yes,
was,
yes,
it
your
was
leg.
still hurting. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
So my thing is because I want to get back to the point where I can sit up for 2 shows in a row and I don't
Mhm.
mean to keep bringing up my leg. So I don't,
No,
I'm
that's
trying to stay positive, but I just want to get to that point where, because it's standing up and walking and sitting down that cause the most pain. And so I want to get to that point where I can sit up for 2 shows in a row.
Mhm.
Um, and Yeah, which is, yeah, and I don't want to set myself back. Like, I want to get out and go for walks, but at the same time, I just really don't want to set myself back to where I was before, where I was like laying down 90% of the time.
Yeah.
You
Jojo is
know.
saying that it's hell to get old, and I agree because my floaters in my eyes disappeared, but they said, well, it's not even dust or anything; it's just a part of getting older. Your eyes dry out, like they're not as gel. There isn't as much natural gel or whatever in your eye. And they say, oh well, when you get older, you just get floaters, and your eyes get used to it. Eventually, they block them out. So
Oh
that's
my gosh.
getting old. Thanks.
But
Yeah.
the problem, okay, I'm sorry. I know this isn't a sexy topic, but
Yeah.
I just really feel like part of the problem is that, yeah, there are things that are naturally part of getting old, but then you wonder if doctors don't start using that as an excuse. Like,
Yeah, just for everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
for everything. Like, yeah, you're getting old. Okay, could we look at other options first?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm getting eye drops to make my eye. Those moisturizing eye drops. Just if it reappears again, then I'll just use my moisturizing eye drops because they say like it just dries out. And I'm one of those people that I come up with a solution. And I say to myself, even the doctor didn't think of this. Why? Why didn't they think of this? Why am I thinking of all the ththings?
Right, right, exactly. Oh, very true. Gotta say, okay. So we have a wonderful lineup of sexy poetry tonight.
Yeah.
I
And a
think
good
only
whipping.
17 on the board.
Mhm.
But that's still a decent show. And
Yeah.
if nothing else, you and I can always put something on the board if needed. Yeah, yeah. But it is good to see JoJo hanging out in StreamYard. Thank you for being here, Joe. Or John, or whatever your name is in the moment.
At the moment, yeah.
It's good to see you. And yeah, and I know we have 2 people listening on YouTube. So hello to our YouTube listeners. And of course, later we'll have people who listen to the recorded shows so of course, hello to them too. And yeah, so we have 4 carryovers, and we will start with those. But and hello to the Cat Bandits. I like that name. I wonder, I don't recognize that name, but at the same time, it probably is somebody I know. So it's good to see you. And and then we will get into our main contest entry, which is sensual poetry inspired by the art of Harry Wisebird's. Oh, it's Jay Spades. Hey, Jay. All right. Very cool. Very cool. But yeah, the interesting thing to me about Harry Wisebird's art, and I highly recommend checking it out. Now, not all of it is sensual, is his use of unique colors. They're colors you'll recognize, but they're oftentimes like he's got these use of bold colors. There's people who their skin tones aren't natural. Like there's a couple on the beach, and they've got kind of a yellow tone to their skin. And a lot of his really there's some of it's painted like a setting of a noir style, but it's not like gray tones or sepia tones, black and white, like it's not the kind of tone colors that you think noir, because it's this just very bold use of color.
But it's still like monotone, I guess, or it's
What's
still
that?
like it's still like one grade. Is it still one grade of color? Just not what you
No,
usually
it's not one grade of color.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's a variety of colors.
Okay.
And I mean, he does have some paintings that have more like brown and gold or brown and gray tones, but I don't know. I just really think his artwork stands out. It's very intriguing. I actually wanted to write to myself, but didn't get around to it. So I do appreciate everybody who was inspired. Because sometimes I feel like the artwork I'm putting up, I'm taking a little bit of a chance with, because I feel like, well, this is sensual, but is it the kind of sensual that's going to draw people in? Um, but yeah, so definitely, if you haven't already checked out his artwork, go ahead and do that, because I think it's worth checking out. Um,
And hello
and
to Amy on YouTube, Amy Phelps. She said that she's there listening.
Oh, okay. Well, hello, Amy. Good to know you're listening in too. Very cool. I like that. I like that. All right. So we'll go ahead and get the ball rolling. All right. So I've put up Ocean by Lyrically Inclined. And go ahead, please, Robbie, and give that a read.
Ocean. Ethereal. Oh, did I unmute myself? Yeah. Okay.
You
I'll
did,
start over.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'll start over again. Ocean. Ethereal. With skin of obsidian, smooth like silk, and like curves of an African goddess. Curated from the dark arts, Cleopatra reincarnated. Luridly, she seduces me, nocturnal desires, ominously distinct. Piercing jade eyes, fiercely through the twilight, she hypnotizes me with her stare. Mysteriously sinister to those unaware, but I'm a subject, not a victim. I seek martyrdom, a willing sacrifice, if you will. I'm ecstasy incarnate, she's a slave to my skill. Trained in the artistry, crafted for the kill. Taught to pleasure her in every way she deems necessary. And in a few hallowed ways, some might even consider insidious. We each drop, we each other, we draw each other into Stygian places where deathly desires intertwine in beautiful carnality. End poem. And it says Oshun is the Yoruba Orisha associated with love, sexuality, fertility, femininity, water, destiny, divination, purity, and beauty.
Thank you for reading that. Great read there, Robbie. Yeah, I really like that he put that information in his AN. I think that adds to the depth of the poem. This was one of the carryovers for when I ran that open sensual poetry contest, and Lyrically Inclined did get a HM, which I think is really good, and it was well deserved, especially considering there was like 50 entries in the contest. I love that he starts out with the word ethereal. I think that's such a beautiful photograph. That's just absolutely gorgeous, dark-skinned woman with a black background. So like that, her like she almost blends in with the background, and I find that very just mysterious. um I liked the flow of this. I liked the imagery. I like how it speaks on serving someone in a very sensual way, and it's beautiful. Dark sensuality isn't always easy to pull off, and I think for me anyways, Lyrically Inclined has this nice balance within his poem, that the darkness and sensuality balance each other out. And I thought there were great lines throughout, but I especially like, but I'm a subject, not a victim. I seek martyrdom, a willing sacrifice, if you will. I'm ecstasy incarnate. She's a slave to my skill, trained in the artistry, crafted for the kill, taught to pleasure her in every way she deems necessary. Wonderful lines and very well done. And Robbie, your thoughts?
Well, even before the I saw the poem, I noticed the photograph too because being a photographer to some degree, at least myself, I noticed like you see the glint in the skin, or well, actually, it looks like it's in the top. But I was reading about how um like dark skin like that, like black skin, African American skin, you have to do different considerations to photograph because of its
Yep.
different properties of reflectivity. So I saw that right away, and I was impressed with the balance in the photo of how they almost fade into the background, but it's just enough where they're distinct enough, but they're still fading. And so as a photographer, I thought that was an excellent photograph. Like it looks good artistically, but I noticed the technicalities of it, which pleased me because that tells me that I've been studying. But I definitely agree with you that the darkness is well balanced because I know there been maybe like a year ago, especially there was one. I remember there was one contest where for some reason I think maybe it was the prompt, but there was more like less balanced dark sensuality than usual, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
dark sensuality is one of those ones that either it works or it doesn't. It doesn't. It tends to not be like, oh, it didn't quite work out. Like either it really worked out, or if it didn't, it's just like, oh my god, what am I listening to? So
Yeah, and I don't remember specifically, but I do remember that even if I hadn't remembered that that was definitely one of my contests because I didn't put up prompts like that.
yeah, yeah. But
But I
no, yeah.
like to
Every
see what
once in a
people
while, you
I
just
like
don't
to
have.
see what people can do, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. But yeah, I like the idea of. I've seen this in a couple of songs and poems where the idea of like a willing subject and someone who's like almost uh like trained isn't maybe the right word, but I'm trying to find the right word. It's like somewhere between trained and tutored. Tutored sounds like a weird way to say it, but yeah, something like in between that where they've been made to learn how to please, and it's such a sensual and it can be like a liberating process when when you willingly give yourself over to somebody, and you're theirs for the night or whatever. And when it's one of those things when it's done right, it's just wonderful. And I always think of the one person who misjudged someone radically, and they're like, "Oh, I'm getting tied up. This is fun." And then before you know it, it's morning and they're still tied up, and they're like, "Oh my god, what did I do? What did I get myself into? Is she gonna tie me up before? Is she gonna untie me before I have to get to work?" she's there
Yeah, I've
tapping her
never
high
seen or
heels.
heard of that happening in real life, but I have seen it in movies, and it's just
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm
you
sure
gotta
it wouldn't
wonder
be
if it
funny to
happens
some.
to a degree in real life.
Yeah, just you know,
Why are you late for
if
work,
if somebody's
Carl?
tying
Never
if
mind.
and it always is the men, like it's always
Yeah,
the men getting tied up and
yeah.
then being like, wait a minute, what's happening here?
What's happening? I agreed to five
um,
minutes, not 5 hours.
right, right.
Why are you late to work?
And
Never mind.
it's good to see Yumpy. So very cool. Good to see him hanging out in StreamYard. And but great comment there, Robbie. All right. And up next we have I Am a Lighthouse Keeper by Teresa S. I am a lighthouse keeper and I guard the stormy sea. I sense her mood, I sense her rage. The sea is hungry for human souls. The sea is starving for human souls. The wild, enraged sea. I am a lighthouse keeper. I saw her that day in the dark depth of the wave, a siren smiling up at me as she sang out to me her soul filled song. I am a siren, dear poet of light, a siren of the sea am I. I have come here for you. I am yours, you see. as I dance on these waves. I want to dance with you. Come dance with me, dear poet of light. Let us dance over these waves together. I am a lighthouse keeper, and I guard the stormy sea. End poem. So, what did you think of that, Robbie?
Oh, I love lighthouses, and it's funny. I'm looking at my little lighthouse decoration right now. I was just showing someone last night. Uh, I have like a lighthouse in a frame, and it's one of those ones where it's backlit, and there's little the way it plays, like the waves go, and it's almost like a painting, but it's backlit, and there's a volume knob, and you can turn it up, and you'll hear the ocean waves going whoosh. So I thought there was a neat little coincidence. I've always loved lighthouses uh, as a symbol, and just as a thing themselves, and as a symbol, and they can be used in a lot of ways, which I like. It there's a literal oh my god, literary flexibility to them, because they can be like sometimes they're used in horror movies and that, and horror stories, like the one lighthouse that everyone goes to and never returns, or or something like that, or it can be used like in a sensual way, or it kind of I think a lot of the time it tends to be a very heavily symbolic, metaphorical way. um, I love the I want to dance with you. Come dance with me, dear poet of light. Let us dance over these waves together. I don't know why that kind of reminds me of me and my temperament. Just the way I think about life, and the way I extend my affections, whether romantic or otherwise, to other people. Um, I tend to I'm a problem solver for my own problems a lot. So I think that makes me look like I shine bright to other people. So they they want to like come to my shore, for like, hey, I'm a little lost, Robbie. Where, and I'm like, well, I'm just as I'm just a regular human being too. I'm just laser focused is all. But I like that they mentioned the siren, because the siren is such a classic pairing with a lighthouse. And the siren is one of those myths that when you really take a closer look at it, it makes it even more interesting. And I like the pairing too of like a dear I am a siren, dear poet of light, a siren of the sea. And so it's to me, it's like a natural thing to have a siren with a poet, because we poets are very angsty types, and we're very melodramatic and that. And I think if there's any artistic type that a siren would lure, it would be a poet. The poet would be like, oh, assail me with your sweet song, make me suffer achingly, oh yes. And then the siren's like, okay, even I find this a little too much. Get over yourself, poet.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I great comment, Robbie. I thought this was beautifully written. I really like the personification of the sea, and I like how, the first stanza is in the completely in the voice of the lighthouse keeper, which stories about lighthouses, like haunted lighthouses and haunted ships, are some of my favorites. And but this, is the idea of, the lighthouse keeper is the guardian. And of course, I can't think of sirens without thinking about the idea um of them luring men to their deaths. Like, I feel like the middle section, especially when it starts singing in her voice, in the siren's voice, it becomes about those temptations offered, and those empty promises of those temptations, like when it says, come dance with me, dear poet of light, let us dance over these waves together. um like there's that offering that is not truth. There's no intention of dancing upon waves. It's going to be underneath them. And then it ends in that couplet, which I think reconnects back with the first stanza. And what that couplet at the end: I am a lighthouse keeper and I guard the stormy sea. So what that's saying to me is that it reconnects with the first section and saying, I am the lighthouse keeper, and you know what, I will not be tempted. I will not stray from my post. This is where I am meant to be. So absolutely a wonderful write, and very well done by Teresa S. All right. And let me get where I need to be. All right. Up next, we have You Are So Dangerous by Vectis Man. And go ahead, please, Robbie, and give that a read.
Okay. You are. Oh, my mic. Every once in a while, I forget to bring the mic back up. I don't have a stand for it. Okay. You are so dangerous. We shouldn't be together. Being together is traitorous. Once our lips touch, I can't help myself. You become dangerous. I find myself enchanted by your charm, your powerful allure. I can't stop myself submitting to you. Your wishes I can't ignore. You are trouble of the very worst kind, the sort of games you play. You start by giving me what I want, but slowly taking it away. Take it away. After stirring up my emotions in a bittersweet kind of action, awakening my desires, desperate feelings of fatal attraction, you seduce me with your passion. I'm aware, but I don't care, of this dark place you're taking me, trapping me within your snare. Have me beg, commit to darkest sins. I'd never admit to doing my infatuation, my fatal attraction to the one you're using. You want me on my knees, begging, pleading for your attention, shaking and trembling all over, awaiting your intention. Your attraction is so inescapable, dark, irresistible sin, igniting me, exciting me. Your friend, Lucifer, inviting me in. You know I can't resist a tryst or two. Trying something new, I can't help myself. I always do everything you want me to. That is why you are so dangerous. End poem.
Great read, Robbie. This is a wonderful dark sensual write by Vectis Man. I like how it speaks in a really honest voice of someone who knows that this person that they're attracted to is not good for them. They are extremely dangerous. They're going to bring out the absolute worst in you, and yet they cannot be resisted. I thought this had strong lines throughout. I like how it spoke on that temptation, and it had an intensity of sensual hunger, and wonderful lines throughout. But I especially like, after stirring up my emotions in a bittersweet kind of action, awakening my desires, desperate feelings of fatal attraction. You seduce me with your passion. I'm aware, but I don't care, of this dark place you're taking me, trapping me with your snare. Wonderful flow to this poem, and just very well done by Vectis Man. And your thoughts, Robbie?
Well, it was interesting to me that they kind of went a little bit the opposite way. Usually, in a like submissive dominant thing, you have someone begging for something to be given, but in this case, something is given, but then it's slowly taken away, which is its own sort of eroticism. Kind of like sweet denial, and that's what I found that to be interesting. And I had a kind of a little bit of a laugh when I was hearing this poem because I remember talking to a coworker once. It was a couple years ago, and we were talking about how a woman like being attracted to the bad boy, and just I was imitating that kind of scenario, and I was like, oh, he's so bad for me, and then I shrug up my shoulders, but I can't help myself. you know it's so it kind of gave me a bit of a laugh to thinking about that little joke, whatever I was making at work. And it's a curious thing how somebody can do that, especially if it's not just that they're yeah, it's a different level when someone isn't just like, oh, he's a little bit bad for me, he he makes me a little weak or blah blah blah. It's like they really are bad, like like they haven't they don't have the best personality, and like their personality like my is like selfish or something, and that but there's that sexual element where sexually they're irresistible, and so it overrides all common sense, because how when does sexuality not override common sense? And and you end up hanging around them. And it's funny because I was at an ice cream place today, and I was thinking that there's that song. It's not nearly as extreme or whatever as this, whatever, but there's that leader of the pack, and it's the songs. I was listening
Oh,
to the lyrics a
yeah.
little more closely. Yeah, I was listening to a little more closely, I guess, because I'm a poet, and I listen to these shows all the time now. And I was like, oh, I had a little bit more of an appreciation of the lyrics because I was listening a little more carefully. It's like, oh, I hope when he rolls away, it's slowly, don't leave.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting what happens when you listen to lyrics a little more closely, um, and get a new perspective. And yeah, but great comment there, Robbie. All right, so that was the last of our carryovers, and we are now going to go into artwork. I mean, not artwork. Sorry, sensual poetry inspired by the art of Harry Weisberg. Um, all right, so let me grab the next one. All right, there we go. All right, we have He Came from Somewhere Far Away by Jolly Tiger Banana. She sat at the bar like a doll in a dress, a cigarette between two practiced fingers, smoke curling like a slow fire. The jukebox hummed a song that smelled of rain. His hat cut the light into a private room. He ordered nothing, only leaned in, a silhouette that wore a brim like a promise. His voice was velvet and static, a radio from another street, and when he smiled, the room tilted as if gravity had learned a new joke. They traded small conspiracies, the way the ash trembled, the tilt of a glass, the polite theft of a name. She laughed. The sound made the bottles blink. He told her the moon had a different language, that stars sometimes forget to be polite. Her hand found his sleeve, a map of ordinary skin. He smelled faintly of ozone and distant rain, of places where night is a different color. She let the cigarette burn down to a silver coin, and in that hush between one breath and the next, she learned how to believe in other skies. When he left, the hat stayed a little warmer, and the smoke on her lips tasted like a promise from a planet that keeps its secrets soft. End poem.
Oh, some unique images here, like with the. I see what you mean by that painting style. It has that kind of flecked look, and yeah, that unique color. The planet that what was that? That planet image was really unique, and this had a unique sort of story feel to it, where I mean, a lot of poems, obviously have a story feel, but this, I think, because of the influence of the painting and the style, it felt like, of all the gin, like a poetic version of all the gin joints in all the world. She had to walk into mine. Kind of felt like that. Very atmospheric. And it's funny how some genres just engender that so much. It's like they're like the living, like this kind of setting is like the living personification of atmosphere, and I think it's because of all the smoke and and like the bars and all that. I remember someone was doing like a relaxing video on YouTube, and she had herbal cigarettes. Like she didn't want to promote smoking, and I guess she wasn't a smoker herself, but just the the sound of the puff and then the visual of the smoke. She wanted that in, like, she wanted that in her video without the without it being a cancer stick. Um, but yeah, the descriptions really fit that painting well, and that kind of subgenre well. She sat like a doll in a dress. I had to do it that way. A cigarette between two practiced fingers. Yeah. And that isn't that just something though? Like it's funny, like how cigarettes are so bad for us, but the visual of them is so it just draws people in so much. There's just something about that the smoke curling in the air, and I guess a little bit of the suggestiveness of the the cigarette in her mouth perhaps. And that I remember when I was in my 20s and I smoked cigars for a very, very short time. I have a picture of me with a cigar in one hand and a rum in the other. Boy, that was a fun day.
It sounds like it. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, there is unfortunately an ugliness to smoking because it is so bad and it does kill so many people. But at the same time, yeah, there is this like in central photography and art, it really captures the imagination. Great comment there, Robbie. This is, I have to agree, a very atmospheric piece. Great noir style storytelling, which fits so well, connects so well with the artwork. I just thought there was great lines throughout, really clever use of language. And I like how it's sensuality without action, with very little touching. Like it's all about creating this kind of atmospheric tension between two people with leaning in and light touches. And I thought there was a wonderful lines throughout, but I especially liked he ordered nothing, only leaned in, a silhouette that wore a brim like a promise. His voice was velvet and static, a radio from another street, and when he smiled, the room tilted as if gravity had learned a new joke. Wonderful lines, beautifully written, and very well done by Jolly Tiger Banana. And all right, putting up the next one. And and we have Macris listening on YouTube. Hello, Macris. Good to see you. And up next, we have Too Far Away by Weaver of Dreams. And she was nice enough to supply us with a SoundCloud. So let me all right. Let me try turning my phone sideways because for some reason my screen isn't scrolling. All right. No, that's not working. All right. I will. There we go. That did work. All right. Very good. I don't know why it did, but it did. All right. So we have Too Far Away by Weaver of Dreams. And here we go.
A long-distance relationship is difficult to sustain. Many occasions are missed, which takes a toll. There is only so much relief one can get on the phone, nor can a Valentine's Day card fill that U-shaped hole. Another year rolls around, and that day looms ahead. We know that we can't be together, but we can do this. I'll put on a pretty dress, light candles, pour some wine. We can Zoom together, talk, then give the screen a kiss. The night's here, lights are dimmed, music's way down low. I am trying to hide the tears, the pain of missing you I feel. I hear a sound, turn, and you're there, my dear sweet man. All is right, lips meet lips, though I can't believe you're real. We climb the stairs with the wine cooler and ice cream to our cocoon of soft mattress, down pillows, silk sheets. Drips of hot wax are then followed by the sharp kiss of ice. Thereby hot lips and cool wine combines and completes. Long hours have passed, dawn is near, the candles gutter out. Languid limbs still entwined, lips plump, cheeks pink, eyes bright. We will not talk of parting as the sun rises, that pain will come. My love, my life, stay in my arms, then we can still keep the night.
Wonderful read and write there, Weaver. Thank you for the SoundCloud. It is very much appreciated. Just a reminder, everyone, if you're unable to call in, the next best thing is to make a recording of your poem, because then we get to hear your poetry in your voice or how you would like it to be heard. And Robbie, your thoughts?
Definitely a very poignant poem. Um, it's like, they talk about like it's a little bit like absence makes the heart grow fonder, and of course, the subject of a long distance relationship. There's so much that you can put emotionally into that, and so many different ways you can focus on it. Uh, I like that she does have a meeting here, and so they do meet, and of course the poignancy is drawn out even more with let us not speak of, we will not talk of parting, as the sun rises the pain will come, that pain will come. So it's an acknowledgement that eventually they will part again, but and it's not like a harsh denial or like a la 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 quite a thing. It's just, it's more of let's just enjoy this moment. That, I think that's the best balance to handle something like that, where you're not like, it's like when you put too much energy into something to try to ignore it, that just gives it more, right? So it kind of reminds me of, I heard a metaphor with attachment in that, in meditation, where it's like notice your thoughts on a stream, neither focus on neither focus on their passing, or what was the other thing, or let them go. It's just kind of, just don't take notice, but no particular notice, sort of a thing. So I kind of felt that kind of in between energy with the line of let us not speak of parting. And yeah, definitely she framed the earnestness of the emotions very well. And I like the like the kissing the screen sort of a thing, is because that really is, uh we can Zoom together, then give the screen a kiss. you know it's that emotional urgency of really trying hard to make it the best that it can be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, yeah, long distance relationships are not easy to keep going. So, great comment there, Robbie. And I'd like to say hello to Jasmine on YouTube. So, hello, Jasmine. Thank you for listening in. Um, she says that of this poem, this was beautiful, so much truth too. And Jay says her voice is so soothing. Yes, definitely. I mean, Weaver has a wonderful reading voice. Um, this Yeah, this is really nicely written. It's got a really emotional impact to it. I love her attention to detail. I like how it speaks on that idea of, trying to spend that time together any way you can, and then, getting that opportunity to be together. I like the combination of hot and cold mentioned in the fourth stanza. We climb the stairs with the wine cooler and ice cream to our cocoon of soft mattress, down pillows, silk sheets. Drips of hot wax are then followed by the sharp kiss of ice. Thereby, hot lips and cool wine combines and completes. I mean, that is just such a delicious treat for the senses. Absolutely beautifully written and very well done by Weaver of Dreams. Um, I have to say, of that particular painting, like I noticed some of his women, and it probably was the time period he painted in, had a very Marilyn Monroe type look to them. And that painting, actually, I like it, but it also, I find it funny because of the fact of where his eyes are exactly.
I know, I know. I was gonna say that he's looking right at her boobs.
you know.
And he's got that look on his face too, like, oh, look at those.
Yeah, like he looks like somebody let it give you. If she asked him what color are my eyes, he wouldn't be able to say.
No, no. It's funny when you mentioned Marilyn Monroe. I didn't know that. Like, she's a very ironic figure. I had no idea about this. I learned. I can't remember where I came across it or how, but I learned about a year ago that like she was actually like a really messy person in that, like really bad. And it's to the point where like her maids didn't want to work for her because they found her like just disgusting with her habits in that. I won't even mention on air because it's really not that great. But it's such what an irony, right? For like a sexual icon and like to be that, but then at the same time, your personal habits, your grooming habits, and your habits around your home are so bad that your maids don't want to work for you. How ironic.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I had actually never heard that before. I had heard before that she actually had a much higher IQ than people, like she played the ditzy blonde well, but she was actually really smart. Um, but it's always interesting to learn new facts. So, interesting indeed. All right. And gonna go grab that next one, and now going to get back to late night poets and all right. Up next, we have Promise Me by Mustafa Hakan. Okay, let me get it. All right. Mustafa Hakan Seliker. And go ahead, please, Robbie, and give that a read. Are you on mute, Robbie?
Yes, I was on mute. It finally got me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have two languages here. Okay. Oh, I guess he's got. Oh, okay. Oh, there's Turkish and English. Oh, you can click on what. Oh, that's an interesting option. You can click on the one or the other. Oh, okay.
Yes, but please read in English, not Turkish. Thank you.
Yes, I don't know. I don't know Turkish, so I won't be able to do it. Promise me.
Okay.
Promise me. Don't take your eyes off my eyes and my winged arms. Promise me in the thoughts you left the place you gave me. Promise me in the blowing wind, winged thoughts. Promise me in our eyes clenched with happiness, warm breath of sunny day. Promise me not a happy kiss, only the two of us are forever, our love will last. Isn't it like a fairy tale, the two of us who promised, the blue of the day colored by the sun? Promise me. End poem.
Great read there, Robbie. This is such a beautiful write by Mustafa Hakan Seliker. And I like the repetition of promise me. It adds such an emotional depth, a kind of an ache to the poem. And I also like the use of the eyes. Don't take your eyes off my eyes and my winged arms. That's interesting because winged arms make me think of an angel. Like it makes me think of somebody who's actually is leaving because they've died. I'm not saying that's what he means, but that's just the thought that it brings to me. But I like the phrase "winged thoughts," like the idea of the mind that wanders. Wonderful imagery and metaphors. A part that I found particularly intriguing was promise me not a happy kiss. Only the two of us are forever. Our love will last. And I wonder if what my thoughts on that, because it is intriguing, is that maybe it's that idea of instead of just one short moment of bliss, I want this something that lasts. It doesn't need to be just this. It doesn't need to be the most amazing kiss ever. It doesn't need to be in this moment. We need to be the happiest we've ever been. Um, but that it will last. And the question, isn't it like a fairy tale? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I almost feel like even though it's not mentioned, the question of isn't it like a fairy tale and the repetition of promise me actually kind of adds a layer of sadness because it feels like someone who really just desperately wants to be told that everything is not only going to work out, but it's going to be that fairy tale love they've always dreamed of. Beautifully written and very well done. And your thoughts, Robbie?
I kind of got that undercurrent too. Like yeah, that caught me right away about the kiss. And I kind of got the idea of how because a kiss only lasts well, not all kisses, but kisses generally don't last that long. Um, and it's transitory and it's a bit of a tease and like he doesn't want that and there's because he says promise me so many times like promise me it has like an urgency to it just in and of itself as a phrase and so have that singular phrase that has that urgency and to have that repeated really gives it a sense of urgency, and yeah, I felt like there was that focus too on this not wanting to be transitory, and it isn't just like a simple wish. There really is like a not quite desperation, but kind of like a shade maybe away from that, and and that's the thing. It makes sense for that in the context of love because love is I think is the prime emotion for that for engendering urgency and almost sometimes desperation in that like someone will just not want to let go or well or like they don't want it to pass right they don't want it to be transitory and that can lead to good things sometimes that leads to bad things like people becoming possessive or obsessive but yeah love is definitely I think the emotion that gets that going the most.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well said there, Robbie. And all right. let's see what we have next. And up next we have Delight of the Great Right by Dragon Blue. And it goes like this: happy and prancing is he, anticipating his only need, exploring depths meant for him, tantalizing, the dancing begins. Closed and unaware is she, then a smile begins to crease. Her sweetness becoming quite moist, impatiently awaiting the hoist of the sailing love within to become one with him. Immeasurable are the heights of divine pleasure, the great right, intense and earth shattering as only that which is meant to be, a level of subconscious reckoning as the spirits of she and he, as he and she become the we, are finally free to feel with abandon, lost in the emotion of a moment in time. As one they shine. Many are the lives together in the great right. End poem.
Sorry, it took me a couple extra moments because I lost. Yeah, I lost my tab there for a second, so it took me a couple extra moments.
Oh, I
Uh,
get that.
yeah. This new system, especially. Um, happy and it didn't get me initially, but happy and prancing is he, anticipating his only need. I guess it's maybe the influence of seeing it recently, but that reminded me just a tiny bit of Pan, just because of that the dancing and saying anticipating his only need. It's a very singular embracing of what they want. Um, so yeah, I was kind of curious. Yeah, it reminded me of Pan a little bit. The not so extreme part of Pan, because when I've seen Pan and how extreme he can actually be, especially in different manifestations, I'm like, oh my god. But yeah, this very much when I look at this again, I do get more and more of a sense that it's like there's an ownership of everything, exploring depths meant for him, tantalizing, the dance begins. So they really seem to be taking possession of what it is that they want, and perhaps are they going to get it. Yeah, it does have a kind of a bacchanalian, sort of a Pan feel to it. And as I say that, I see a level of subconscious reckoning as the spirits of she and he. I like that idea of the subconscious reckoning. It's like the everything, all of your secret desires, perhaps coming to the surface. And again, that plays into the thoughts I was having before, and and then they're finally free to feel with abandon, lost in the emotion. I can relate to this poem a lot in that I want to feel my emotions, as freely as possible, and of late, like even today, like it's been harder for me to. Sometimes you get when you get overworked and things like that, like at my workplace, your emotions flatten out a little bit. It's just like your brain kind of goes into flat mode, or it gets overworked, and your brain just kind of goes into like like a computer, like goes into safe mode. So, and I don't like that feeling, so I like to read poems like this to remind me uh that 90% of the time I still am the kind of the wild child that people tend to associate me with. So yeah, as a interesting right for that to remind me of that.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And sometimes we just need to be reminded that
Mhm.
we have a wild side that needs to be let out. I think that you actually made it, like, especially with those first few lines, a great observation on the idea of connecting it to like Pan and the nymphs. I actually had to look up the Great Rite, and I found out something I didn't know. And for those who are like me, the Great Rite is a sacred Wiccan ritual symbolizing the union of the god and goddesses often performed to honor fertility, divine balance, and spiritual energy. So, I feel like by now me knowing that, it adds more in my mind to the depth of the poem. And I do think this transitions really well. Like the first part is definitely about just fulfilling the physical sensual appetite, but then it becomes that turning point in that lines that you pointed out, Robbie, a level of subconscious reckoning as the spirits of she and he, as he and she become the we. So this is, then it becomes that it's not just about the physical connection, but the spiritual connection as well. I actually really like the use of the bold lettering in this. I thought for some reason it worked really well. Plus, it gives my eyes a rest. So, there's always that bonus. But this had a nice flow to it. And I felt like even if Dragon Blue hadn't used the word happy and prancing, there there's something about this poem that just has, it feels like the words are dancing down the page as you read them out loud. And I thought there were great lines throughout, but I especially like immeasurable are the heights of divine pleasure, the great right, intense and earth shattering as only that which is meant to be, a level of subconscious reckoning as the spirits of she and he. Wonderful lines, beautifully written, and very well done. All right. And let's see what we have next. And Jay says of that poem, the couplets in bold are very thick with love and death magic, and it's beautiful. Absolutely. Absolutely. I have to agree with that. Well said there. See if I actually grabbed the next poem. All right. So I've placed it in YouTube, and now I get back to Late Night Poets. I probably should stop announcing everything I do, but I feel like if I go quiet, people are going to be like, why is it quiet? What is she doing?
Yeah.
And there's this bouncing back and forth between tabs that, take a little more than a split second.
It's just long enough that you need to fill it out. That
Yes.
it's annoying when it's like that.
Right. Exactly. All right. So up next we have Rattle and Hiss by Jay Spades. And go ahead, please, Robbie, and give that a read.
Okay. I'm finding that I have to refresh more often, but oh well. With the way the thing is now. Rattle and hiss. And the Oregon moves with the water. The terrain is crippling as a dehydrated sun, sending funny bones to their permanent plantation against my leather boots, against the iron wheel. We shrink, fall apart, and become one again in the river, where the snakes take prey, and their bites as bad as vultures to the omen only God may know of recovery. Sucking her eternal flesh, I spit the evil out of my gums. I've been a good sailor, and only say the things that don't bite back. For my mouth is a crater, and I am to keep it from puss. My bandana bleeds a green tomato, hidden behind the cloth. Aloe vera has been a good mistress to us all. A little bite. It's just a little bite, my dear. Oh, but she seems to have enjoyed this particular spot, to have received such succulence. To the tent, and from the shade I beg you, come to your senses, for nothing is too late to stop my crushing heart from going senseless. End poem.
great read there, Robbie, and what an amazing write by Jay Spades. This has strong visceral imagery. Um, the the first line makes me think of the Oregon Trail. I was thinking, especially with the mention that, and I'm not really good at geography, that with the mention of water, maybe there was a river called the Oregon, but I don't know, like this definitely, yeah, that first stanza, it feels like the Oregon Trail and moving forward in difficult times. There's a raw grittiness to this. There's a sensuality, but the sensuality to me has to do with healing. And of course, I mean, who doesn't love a little bit of biting, Absolutely. Um, you know, and I thought this had really great lines throughout. I like how the end speaks on the idea of where it says, "To the tent and from the shade, I beg you to come to your senses, for nothing is too late to stop my crushing heart from going senseless." I don't know. There's something in that speaks to me on the idea of wanting to heal together. But I will say, out of all of this, it is definitely the second stanza that really speaks to me the most. "Sucking her eternal flesh, I spit the evil out of my gums. I've been a good sailor and only say the things that don't bite back. For my mouth is a crater and I am going to keep it from pus. My bandana bleeds a green tomato hidden behind the cloth. Aloe vera has been a good mistress to us all. A little bite. It's just a little bite, my dear." The mention of aloe vera makes me actually think of the aftercare, like, a BDSM couple, how after like a session, you'll have the aftercare where something like a salve is added to the wounds. I don't know if I don't want to use the word wounds, maybe, but you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
you know, and so that makes me think of that. And you know, oh, okay, and Jay does say it is about the Oregon Trail. And all right, very cool, very cool. I'm glad I was able to pick up on that. But yeah, this is a really wonderful and captivating write, and very well done. And your thoughts, Robbie?
Well, one thing it really reminded me of, I mentioned this video once before. I had no idea that Dita Von Teese was in any music videos, but she is in a couple of one or two videos by Monarch, at least. There's like Black Widow and Disintegration, and Disintegration is like this couple, and it's funny because there's this one like they don't get along, but that isn't the part that's similar to this poem. The other part is, there's a part where there's like a fly, and he's using his proboscis to penetrate like Dita's arm, like the flesh of Dita's arm, and you see her pupils dilate. And like it's funny because you can tell in the video that her husband can't satisfy her, but this little fly with its measly little proboscis is doing a better job than her husband is. And you see her husband, is seeing what's happening to her, and she's like, "Well, now this stupid little fly, he's not going to outperform me," and he squashes the fly. And I thought to myself, "Oh, Dita Von Teese, you're freaking brilliant." I don't know why but I got the impression that was Dita Von Teese's idea, and I just love that little part of the video to death. You just see the proboscis going in and out, and her pupils dilate, and the husband just gets the most pissed off look, and his hand just smashes the table.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like an insane video.
It
That
is.
sounds very interesting.
It's insane in the best way possible. I'll send it to you. I think you would like it. And Black Widow is really good too. But yeah, it reminded me of that, and kind of along the lines of like what you were saying with like the aftercare, that sort of thing, and kind of like those kind of illusions of of like aftercare and like not that kind of penetration, but certain sorts of penetration, or like yeah, that sort of general idea of things, but in a different way, like it's just a little bite, my dear, and that, and so yeah, it's an interesting poem for how it approaches it with much different imagery, and so you get the same sense of things, but in a very original way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This definitely has originality to it. Great comment, Robbie. And Jasmine says, Jay is a very talented poet. I love it. Such strong imagery here. The feeling of fighting the heat, nature, and the elements really comes through. Wonderful comment there, Jasmine. Um, very cool. All right. And up next, oops, I better get that on YouTube. We have Underneath the Moonlight by Sad Ghoul. And it goes like this. There she sat, bathed by the ethereal moonlight. She gently placed a cigarette between her delicate lips. I fumbled for the lighter in my pocket and rushed forward, giving fire to the cigarette she adored. She takes a long drag as if she was breathing her last breath. Little did she know I was gasping, for she stole my oxygen. She looked at me with hunger burning in her starlit eyes. Oh my, I felt my heart skip a beat, my throat tightening as she motioned me forward. I slowly moved closer, her body adorned in satin silk, hugging her in all the right places. Her fingers barely grazed my skin. I started trembling. When she pressed herself against me, every cell in my body was alive for the first time in my life. I gasped quietly as her sharp teeth sunk into my soft flesh. Her touch was like death, and I couldn't get enough of it, a mixture of bites and licks. She was craving poems of love into my skin. My hands knotted in her hair, giving it a tug. She sighed. The noises that fell from her mouth was like music to my ears. My hands ravaged her body. We intertwined like veins, well, like vines, as our DNA mixed under the pale moonlight. End poem. And that was a wonderful sensual right by Sad Ghoul. And your thoughts, Robbie?
Well, I love the idea of like smoke, like cigarette smoke, but then also the moonlight. And I was just thinking, like, wouldn't it be wonderful if you could somehow do that, where you could see, you could do a photograph skillfully enough, or maybe a painting where you could see this, the exhalation, the cigarette smoke, but in the moonlight. Like that would look so just ethereal. Ethereal is one of my favorite words too, but alas, I overuse it. My brother said that to me once. You use that word all the time. Well, I can't help it. It's my favorite. It's my favorite word. And yeah, the combination of that, of those two very unearthly and wispy objects, or ideas or whatever, is because yeah, smoke isn't really an object per se, but images, yeah, that it just gives the poem such a wispiness, and unearthliness, a wonderful kind of unearthliness, and that's so provocative at the end, as our DNA mixed under the pale moonlight. And there's just something so sensual about doing anything under the moonlight, whether it's kissing or exchanging DNA. I don't know how else to say it. Exchanging DNA, or or what have you, or embracing. That's yeah. It's just this. The moon makes it inherently more sensual, and it just reminded me of one I mentioned once before. I had my dad's Sony Handycam, even though it didn't take the greatest pictures, it offered an interesting framing. And I was obsessed one night with getting the moon in all these different framings. And I had like I purposely was taking like pictures of the moon behind like trees. So like the trees were framing it and kind of in the way of the moon, and the moon was half focused in that. And that was when I was first discovering photography. And I must have been out there for an hour, and I was just obsessed. It's like, oh, what kind of cool shot can I get now? And that, and so yeah, it reminded me of that night. I wasn't
Oh,
exchanging DNA, but yeah, it was the next
but
best
still,
thing.
yeah, I know what you mean. Absolutely. And yeah, the moonlight really adds an atmosphere to this piece for sure. I have to say, wonderful lines throughout. This is beautiful, captivating. I love the gentle eroticism throughout, um, and the build up in this sensual energy as the poem keeps going. Um, and I thought there were great lines throughout, but I especially liked. I slowly moved closer, her body adorned in satin silk, hugging her in all the right places. Her fingers barely grazed my skin. I started trembling. When she pressed herself against me, every cell in my body was alive for the first time in my life. I gasped quietly as her sharp teeth sunk into my soft flesh. Wonderful lines, beautifully written and very well done by Sadhgul. All right. And here we go, grabbing the next one. And I have put up The Shape of Longing by Gray0328. And go ahead, please, Robbie, and give that a read.
Okay, I'm just gonna have to refresh. There we go. Oh. Sorry, I'm just having trouble getting that. There we go.
Robbie, you might have to adjust your mic.
Oh, okay. It was too far away. Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, you can remind me when you have to. And 9 times out of 10, I remember, but I don't, because I don't have a stand for this mic. Sometimes I forget to pull the mic back, pull the mic closer to me. Okay, The Shape of Longing. Her philtrum curved like a scarlet, a secret whispered, a wrinkle of gravity above her lips, an invisible tether pulling my gaze, making the world fall quiet for her. She spoke with no words, only movement, a language carved in the softest geometry, where tenderness disguised itself as skin, and I believed in the weight of moments. It was impossible not to notice her lips, impossible not to imagine the collision, like an orchestra poised on the edge of silence, like sunlight slipping through a hesitant curtain. There is no logic to hunger like this, no formula for the way wanting expands. Just her mouth caught halfway to a smile, just the knowing shape of longing infinite. I reached into the gentle ache of her, each breath daring me closer to the brink, each heartbeat promising every answer, each inch of space the softest invitation. End poem.
Great read, Robbie. And what a wonderful, wonderful write by Gray0328. Of course, I had to go look up the word philtrum, which is actually that little indent right on your upper lip, like just below your nose. And it's actually Latin from the Greek, ancient Greek, which means love charm. And an interesting fact, in Jewish tradition, each embryo has an angel teaching it all of the wisdom in the world while it is in utero. The angel lightly taps the infant's upper lip before birth to prevent the infant from revealing the secrets of the universe. So interesting, interesting. I never knew I never knew the name of that little indentation, and now I do. So I've learned something new. Wonderful word choices, beautiful imagery and metaphors, really captivating lines. I like how the fourth stanza speaks on the idea of the, that it says there is no logic to hunger like this, and oftentimes when you are immensely sensually sexually attracted to someone, it's just a complete insanity. There absolutely is no hunger. I mean, there's hunger, there's absolutely no logic, but that is a wonderful stanza. There's no logic to hunger like this, no formula to the way wanting expands. Just her mouth caught halfway to a smile, just the knowing shape of longing infinite. Wonderful lines, just absolutely beautifully written and very well done by Gray0328. And your thoughts, Robbie?
Well, I could make a logic joke for obvious reasons, but I won't. I won't go for I won't go for the low hanging fruits. That's very low hanging fruit. That's about as low as you can go. Yeah, it's funny when you discover a new word, you kind of think about a way to try to use it. I just imagine someone saying, "Keep your philtrum to yourself." Like, what? What? Don't kiss me. Don't kiss me. Keep your philtrum to yourself, and you explain. You're like, oh, okay, I would love that would be such a funny poem. Keep your philtrum to yourself. But yeah, it's funny too how like there really is in I think in any language, but perhaps maybe English especially. English seems to be a more technical language than some. There really is like a name for like everything. Like I'm just wondering like is there a more specific name for like the space between your big toe and the rest of your toes? I wouldn't be surprised if there was. And uh this had the very much like the classic tension, you know and it caught the yeah, again, like you said, like the how there is no logic to hunger like this, like the mania of passion, and how it's just unrestrained. And it's very, there's like a emotion to it. Like when he says, I reached into the gentle ache of her, each breath daring me closer to the brink. Like I can almost visualize like where he's sliding his hand to her, to her lower back from, like while he's facing her, that sort of thing. It really, I can almost feel like the leaning in of his body into hers, and like the use of his body, like his arms and that to like push her into him even more. It's very physical that way. There's a very certain sort of physicality to it. So, and I'll have to find a way to use the word philtrum over the next couple of days, and to do it in a non-erotic way would be a very especially challenging little
Yeah.
challenge to myself.
Yes. Well, the thing with Philtrum is I see it working in a sensual poem because of its location, but I
Yeah,
will say, as far as sound goes, it's not really a sensual
that's right.
sounding word. Like if somebody was trying to seduce me and they were like, oh, I'm so attracted to your Philtrum, I'd be like, yeah,
Shut up.
that definitely would not work, but it
No.
works in this poem, and I think
Yeah,
it's just because it kind of really sets the tone and also
yeah.
speaks of that idea of how close of attention he's
Mm.
paying to this woman. So,
Well, that shows the skill, because of how the word sounds kind of
absolutely,
unusual, but he makes it work. Yeah.
absolutely, yes, and great comment, Robbie. All right, and all right. So up next, I have Tumultuous by Blue Harrison, and it goes like this. Will you ever see me again as that wild, tumultuous ocean you ran into barefooted, treading, swallowing wave after wave of whim, so that I might let you in, as I cannot unsee you, the breathless abandon you, reach for me with all of you hard, but somehow yielding, each kiss building into a tsunami, consuming these shores, and how you explored diving deep and skipping along the surface, strands of pearls marking where you've been, till I trembled, tides curled, and named you my harbor, so sated with that curve of your smile, the way your tongue worshipped me wet. But now my depths you cannot recall, as I am the returning sea, unable to forget. End poem. Oh, that is beautiful. And Robbie, your thoughts?
This felt like the most elegant use of the language, like the pearls and that and those other images there. I just got to scroll down a bit here. Um, and with the painting too, like the rich use of blue, this feels like the most visual poem I've come across so far. And when it says, will you ever see me again as that wild, tumultuous ocean?" I just think of love like being like a tumbling sort of a thing. You know what I mean? Like we love is very moving, and it's just something that's always on the move, and very kinetic, and that's another word I overuse. um, that sort of thing. So yeah, there's a lot of motion in this poem in that way, and yeah, and with the tsunami, uh, it really illustrates well that feeling of love and how love can swell, like, literally and figuratively. Oh, oops. I didn't mean to say it that way. And yeah, and just there's a lot of like, yeah, there's a physicality in terms of like the shapes. Again, kind of like with the other poem, associated with that curve of your smile, the way your tongue worshipped me wet. And so there's a kind of this connection to the sea, very directly, in terms of the way the movements of the sea emulate the movements of love, like the swelling tide, the rush of, the generally the rush of water, that sort of thing, the ebbs and flows.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment there, Robbie. Yeah, what I really like about this is that she doesn't just connect to this particular painting, but you can tell that she used multiple paintings as inspiration, because at least a couple of the prompts, I think three of them, had a woman diving in water, and this one is like there's such a sense of, you know exploration of the depths, and a sense of freedom and a wild spirit in the water paintings. And here, because it's a man turning his back on a woman, and they're in a more modern setting, it you can see the transition, like you can see how, there's that idea of what a couple used to be, how they used to see each other, and um how things have changed. I mean, and she brings that in right away. Will you ever see me again as the wild, tumultuous ocean you ran into barefooted, treading, swallowing wave after wave of whim, so that I might let you in? This is so emotive. It's sensual and sad at the same time, which is not an easy balance to create. But I think Blue Harrison does it beautifully. And this has wonderful lines throughout, but I especially like consuming these shores and how you explored diving deep and skipping along the surface strands of pearls, marking where you've been till I trembled, tides curled and named you my harbor. Wonderful lines, beautifully written and very well done by Blue Harrison. And all right. Now the question is did I grab the next poem or was I just too infatuated with that? Yes, I did. All right. So, Robbie, this next poem I'm going to put up for you to read. And when you're done reading, I want you to go into commenting and I'll comment second because I just got a couple quick things I need to do.
All right.
And it is Eternal Memories by Ed Hunter. And go ahead.
Okay. Eternal Memories by Ed Hunter. Oh, man. The scene is a deep, unwavering intimacy, a sensual supplication relentless to a lost boy. If I look at the crystal moon, the brightest star, and the slow-moving space, everything exists through the sound of your voice. If you suddenly forget me, do not seek me, for I have nourished a different love. Life passes through an endless reason, where men are made mad until the fruit is no more. I shall seek another land beyond the north, where my roots will follow. But in me, nothing is forgotten or smothered. And each minute or each day, you feel destined for another. It is fate. In us, the fire is endless. Our bodies seek each other, and my lips will seek you. As long as you live, memories will be in your arms for eternity. And with this poem, you see, well, in the picture, you see the embrace, very tender sort of embrace. Like her foot is, or her leg is up. I always found that kind of a pose to be especially endearing of a couple. It really shows love of a couple when like a woman's leg is up like that. Like it shows her involvement in the physicality of the embrace. And I feel that spirit of things is reflected in this poem. Like it starts with the scene is a deep, unwavering intimacy. So there's that intimacy that's like reflected in that leg up, during the embrace. And I like the mention of the crystal moon, the brightest star, and the slow moving space. It reminds me of the 17th century specifically, which I'm obsessed with. And one poet actually could tell that I'm obsessed with that, and it's my influence in poetry, which shocked me because that's such a specificity there. But the 17th century idea of the music of the spheres, where each planet had a crystal sphere around it, and that's what was responsible for orbits. And whenever those crystals interacted with each other, that became like music. It was the music of heaven. And I utterly obsessed with the idea of the music of the spheres. And I don't know why, I just am. Uh, and it's not quite melancholy, but it kind of bounces the mood a little bit. Because all of a sudden it says, if you suddenly forget me, do not seek me, for I've nursed a different love. And it's talking about this passionate love and such. And then it shifts into, well, there's a release there, like it's kind of like well, if you forget me, it's kind of, it's hard to say if it's if you find someone else, just go to them, because don't linger on me. It could be that, but it feels um more like an acknowledgement of that the possibility is that they can forget, and that the other person has found love. That's the difference. It's not, oh, seek another. It's actually that the other person has found love, which kind of took me a bit by surprise, because usually that's not the emphasis, is that the other person has found love. It's just more usually a release. Uh, But in me, nothing is forgotten or smothered. And each minute of each day, you feel destined for me. It is fate. So there's a bit of a bouncing back and forth in the tone here of the specific tone of love, because you have the other stanza that I just mentioned that had its sort of different energy, but then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but a couple of stanzas later, you have you feel destined for me, it is fate. So the poem kind of is curious to me that way, where it's bouncing between, well, I think I may have found another, or if you leave, I will find another, and bouncing between that and, well, it's fate that we're with each other. So it's kind of a curious poem that way.
Great comment there, Robbie. Yeah, it is intriguing, and it's beautifully written with this strong emotional impact. Um, and it feels like that it speaks on someone who, in the voice of someone who has this sense of reality. Like, yes, this could be something good, but if it doesn't work out, I can find something else that is just as good. I thought your observation on the melancholy undertone of the right was a great observation. I like how this speaks on the passing of time, and feeling like there's that we're um destined to, like, we're going to have to, like, face the fate that we were meant to. And I don't know, just really quite passionate. um and I like how at the end it mentions memories, because I feel like one of the stronger points of this poem is that where it says, as long as you live, memories will be in your arms for eternity. That idea that even if something, like, even if a relationship doesn't work out in the end, we'll have the memories of the good times that we shared together. Just beautifully written and very well done by Ed Hunter. And all right, let me go ahead and go grab the next one. And all right.
It's almost like they were saying, well, don't worry about me being lonely. I'll be able to find somebody else. But it says that in a different way, in a way
Right,
that I don't usually hear it said. Yeah.
right. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, that kind of offering of reassurance. All right. And up next, I put Cautious Penelope by Olka F. And he was nice enough to supply us with a recording. So let me work my phone out here so I can see it. All right. Come on. Huh. All right. Did that work? Yes, it did. Finally. All right. So this is Cautious Penelope by Olka F.
How his hands thy night. What creature dug such shallow vastness that only I could have helped him forget? Lines throbbing with nothing else than my eyes in his veins. How one single body of a woman can hold the universe. Even now, my arms are trembling, my skin frenetic. Oh, my beloved, be waited. Begone, junkster. Famished eyes, blemished calves, pickled scrag, they all suddenly suckled and toil worn. Not even the treacherous sirens could have taken him from mine. Not even their grand voices could have caressed his spine as my very own traveled volley. A respite to mine. Evaded and bobbed and jostled and longing hairs. My pelt almost came off gruntled.
Well, that was quite a good soundscape there that she got from Suno.
Robbie, you could just ask me if I'm on mute.
Yeah, I wasn't too sure. I wasn't too sure if you're. Sorry, I should have done that, but I thought that.
But no, that's no. I'm just saying, that
Right.
would be a first option. But go ahead.
I don't usually do that, but that one time I forgot to. I don't know why. I was just like, off. Sorry about that.
But yeah, go ahead. Continue. I was just teasing
Sorry. It's been a long day. What can I say? Yeah. I really got a smile at the end of this poem because well, this had like that Eastern vibe or like either Middle Eastern or Indian vibe, and the end of it, especially, it reminded me of how my days of drumming with the belly dance troupe, and how I had this plan that I wanted to do where I had I have an authentic East Indian snake charmer that someone got me, and that what I wanted to do so badly was to get like this giant basket. We were actually considering this, and then I would play it, and out of the giant basket, a belly dancer would have rose up. And I would have like, and so instead of summoning the snake, I would have summoned a belly dancer with my authentic East Indian snake charmer. Oh, that would have been glorious if I managed to do that. I would have loved that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And I can definitely, great comment there, Robbie. And that music did have a bit of that kind of East, that Indian belly dancer
Mhm.
type vibe to it. But I thought this was so beautifully written. I really like how he writes in the voice of Penelope, the queen, the wife of Odysseus, who waited for him for 20 years, fending off other suitors. She, the symbolism of complete loyalty and devotion to one man. I thought this had just brilliant imagery and metaphors. You see him bringing in different parts of the story of Odysseus, and the sirens, the cyclopses. I love that attention to detail, especially since the attention to detail. Like this is a nice length poem, not too long, not too short. But the thing is like with a topic like this, you could go really epic. Like I could definitely see writing in the voice of Penelope and just ending up writing like 300 or more words. This is very powerful and visceral. I thought there were some wonderful eroticism all the way through, but I did especially like, oh, I was so waiting those thick lines, throbbing with nothing else than my eyes in his veins. How can one single body of a woman hold the universe? Even now, my arms are trembling, my skin frenetic. Wonderful lines, beautifully written, and very well done by Olga F. And all right. Up next, we have A Trivial Romance by Ivara248. And it goes like this. He breathed he breathed the smoke of her cigar, ate the quiet glances of her eyes, held the straps of her sandals, and almost stumbled on the echoes of her laugh. She pushed his chest with her heel, made sure the puffs of her cigar were always in his direction, never let her eyes wander away and far, laughed anyway on his jokes, sense of humor just left the jar, knowing well he held the back of the other with his own, not knowing what's in his eyes, one hand always in his pocket, a hat to let everyone know he is there every night. The music never seemed loud, the crowd never made a sound. It's like she was walking in a room full of people, but it's only him for her. Who filled the space around. End poem. And Robbie, your thoughts?
Well, where was I? Kind of. Oh yeah, the I like this is a second poem with a cigar. Uh, I just thought of, well, it said like he always made sure that the smoke was in her direction, and I just laughed thinking of when I had my friend that I smoked cigars with, and I don't think she would find it very romantic if I kept puffing smoke in her face.
I don't think most people would.
No, it's just it's a funny how art works like that, though, isn't it? Where artistically it sounds good, or artistically it makes a certain sort of sense, but when you translate it, if you took a couple of seconds to translate it to the real world, like the
Yes.
sentiment in that, it wouldn't quite work. So yeah, it made me think of that kind of very particular sort of quirk of art. And I like the idea that he had one hand always in his pocket. I kind of that made me wonder about like is it like for like fashion, like that kind of like how you have someone like in like a GQ ad or something like that where they have like one hand in their pocket and like just the thumb is out or something, kind of for style. I kind of wonder if it's that or if it's something else. um and at the end there's a certain intimacy created with the music never seemed loud, the crowd never made a sound. It was like she was walking in a room of people. And yeah, you feel like the place is just for them, right? And it reminded me in a quirky way of how, like in the Matrix movie, there's the lady with the red dress and she's always distracting people. And she's like the one, she's like the one element of color in that drab world, because everybody else is just in suits and all that, right? And everybody during that simulation, they always knows her because she stands out so much. So it kind of reminded me of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great comment there, Robbie. The one thing I will say about the cigar smoke being blown in the face is there's pretty much a kink for everything. Like I remember I was I was watching an episode of the Graham Norton show, and this actress who is talking was telling about, like when she was looking for work before she had become an actress, and she had this friend who was basically a mistress, like who men would basically pay her just to walk around in heels and kick them in the bum while they were scrubbing with the floor, with like toothbrushes. And there was one guy, and that's bad enough, but there was one guy who actually, his kink was like having vacuum cleaner dust tossed on him.
Oh, okay.
And it was such a funny episode because someone spoke up and said, "How do you even find out that's your kink?
I know,
are you
right?
like somebody accidentally spills vacuum cleaner dust, or you spill it on yourself, and you're like, oh my God,
do it again."
Do it
well,
again.
Frank does.
Yes, exactly. And
to somebody today that this was hilarious. I'll just say
oh
very
my
quickly,
gosh! But
I had a female friend who every time her boyfriend came over, a pair of her shoes would disappear. And so one day she confronted him about it, and he confessed that he was stealing her shoes. And she said, "Dude, why don't you just ask?" And I thought to myself, "Oh, you are a unique friend. You are a unique person." Because most people, they'd be grossed out. Like she's like liberal, and
I think I remember you telling me about this before.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I remember saying that I wouldn't mind if I was in a relationship and my significant other wanted to wear high heels, that's fine. But I wouldn't want my shoes stretched out. That would be my thing. Like,
now.
Okay, like stop stretching out my shoes.
Don't use my shoes.
Exactly. Buy your own. It's like, listen here, Mr. Size 13. Go buy your own heels.
Yeah. It'll be funny. Like, it's not the same if it's not your shoes, Pam. Well, too bad.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But I found this really intriguing because there's kind of this back and forth. Like, it's almost like the characters in this poem are trying to figure their relationship out, or there's a lot of game playing because she's always laughing at his jokes, which when you think of the idea of someone who always laughs at someone's jokes, it's because they like them, but a lot of times it's because I don't want to insult you, I want you to know that you're always funny even when you're not. And yet at the same time, she's putting her high heels on his chest. She's blowing smoke in his face. So it feels like it kind of goes back and forth between the idea of figuring out who's in charge and who isn't.
Mhm.
It becomes very atmospheric in the end with the idea of being in a crowd of people and then being the only two people aware of each other.
Yeah.
So really, really nicely done by Ibarra 248 and very well done.
It's the
All
funny thing
right.
about
So
kinks that something that
mhm.
could objectively seem so graphic is something you don't mind, but then something that would most people would think is only half as kinky. You're like, you want me to do that? Oh my god, that's disgusting. It's like, so so you don't mind me sticking a high heel in your butt, but you don't want me to do that. Oh, okay, I can't figure out,
Yeah.
dude.
Well, everybody has their thing that,
Yeah.
mine is tongues in my ear. I,
Mhm.
there's probably other things too, but that's the first thing that comes to mind is just don't put your tongue in my ear. Um, all right. So we will have two carryovers by Sandrina and Anthony. Hold on, I got to click on this so I can say his name right. Anthony Musto. And I will have those read at the beginning of my next Art of Seduction show. Great show tonight. Thank you, Robbie, as always, for whenever you co-host with me. Greatly appreciated. Gray, I hope you feel better soon. Thank you to Jojo and Yumpy and anyone else who hung out on the board. Thank you to Jay and Jasmine and Macris for listening on YouTube. Thank you to everyone who wrote for the show, is listening now, or will be listening later. We truly appreciate you all. In less than a half hour, you can join Monarch and JoJo for books and bards. And of course, make sure to keep an eye out on the contests and topic boards put up by Late Night Poets hosts and hostesses, because you're sure to find something to inspire. And have a wonderful night, everyone. Have a good night, Robbie.
Good night, Pam.